Cause imagine it's your moms that grieve. Look around, you're surrounded by the M.O.B. P-D-E-E-P.
Yo, how we doing today? Welcome back to yet another video. Not a college football video. This is not, well, I guess a little bit. We are doing the first mock draft of the year. For me, at least. Other people have done mock drafts, obviously. But let's get right into it. This is so fun for me. It's a little late. I'm a little tired, but we're going to do this regardless because I love mock drafts, man. And one of the things I love about doing them so early is because they're so subject to change. Like, what you see right now could not be anything close to what the final order is. So I'm looking forward to it, but let's get started right away here. For a long time, my thought process with the Bears' first pick is that they would not draft a quarterback and instead they would trade it because I felt like Caleb had enough power to say, I'm not going to the Bears. I think, especially after these last two games Caleb has played particularly, I don't think he has that power much anymore. Not saying that will remain the case. He could probably just come out and say he's not playing for the Bears, and the Bears would trade this pick. I'll probably operate under a different assumption every time I do one of these. But for right now, I will say Caleb is happy going to the Bears, and the Bears take him at number one. Okay. I understand that, Fields, that's going to be complicated moving on from that, but I think the Bears take Caleb number one. Cardinals at two. Do they take QB? I think it's a discussion if they take Caleb. But honestly, it feels to me like they're happy with Kyler, at least for this upcoming season. I think it's just too unrealistic to move on from that contract, and I feel like they are just going to move forward in trying to build a team around Kyler. So if that's the case, you have to go Marvin Harrison Jr. Generational prospect, highest receiver drafted in who knows how long. Yeah, he deserves to be a top two pick. Bears with their second pick, you already got Caleb. Marv is off the board. What do you do here? It's a very tough question. It's a very tough question. I think cornerback is a very big need for them, but I think it's a little bit too high for a Kool-Aid McKinstry. I don't think there's a receiver. A receiver's a need, but I don't think at number three it's worth taking a receiver here. Do you make a trade? In the future, we'll probably make a trade here with the Bears at this spot. But for right now, we'll go Laiatu Latu. He's been amazing. He has quickly risen up the boards as the number one pass rush prospect. He can beat you with power or finesse. And in a conference in the Pac-12 with a lot of high-powered offenses, he has heavily disrupted a couple of those offenses already. So he still has some big games ahead of him as well. He's going to have a bunch of primetime games coming up. So pay attention to him and what he continues to do this season. I think his stock can only continue to rise. Broncos at number four. Drake May kind of just falls into your lap here. And look, I'm not saying Russ has been horrible, but I think, the bridge may already be burned between Russ and Sean Payton. Not necessarily Russ's fault. Sean Payton's done a horrible job so far. But if you have a chance to draft a guy who is good enough to be a first overall pick in several draft classes, I don't really think you'd pass on that opportunity. So we're gonna give the Broncos Drake May. That's the only pick so far I don't feel great about, but it comes down to how often will you get a chance to draft a Drake May if you're the Broncos, is what I'm saying. So I think if the Broncos continue to lose, which I'm not really sure about, I think the Broncos could finish with 4 or 5 wins this season. So who knows if they'll have a top four pick, but as of right now, we'll give them Drake May. Giants at 5. I saw someone give the Giants a receiver this high that's not named Marvin Harrison. I don't really agree with that. I think the Giants' offensive line is an issue and has been an issue for so long that they just have to address it. I'll give them Joe Alt. Evan Neal, you can either cut him or move him to a different position. I don't really care. Joe Alt is an amazing prospect. It's just the Giants. What's the biggest need? Well, they got a lot of needs: receiver, linebacker, but it's the offensive line. And Joe Alt, it's an upgrade automatically. He can start really anywhere. So you can't pass up on a prospect like that if you're the Giants. Patriots at 6. Look, I think the Patriots are the only team in the league right now where I could say they are not keeping the same quarterback next season. And it's not entirely Mac Jones' fault. They don't have enough weapons around him. So maybe whatever guy they draft right here, they'll ruin him because they don't put enough weapons around him. But I think the answer is Michael Penix at number 6. I don't love the fit. I'm a Michael Penix fan, right? So I'm hoping he goes somewhere, yeah, just a little bit better because I don't think Bill Belichick is going to put a good team together moving forward. I think he's done. But Michael Penix, the Patriots are moving on from Mac Jones. Mac Jones will not play another game for the Patriots after this season. The question is, which quarterback do they take? At this spot, I think Michael Penix is the best option. Packers at 7. This is extremely interesting because at this point in time, the signs would point to the Packers moving on at quarterback. But if you look at the remaining quarterback class, honestly, I don't love any of the options. So what do you do here? Well, I think one of the best moves you can do would be finally getting Kenny Clark an option beside him, which they've been trying to do for a very long time. But Jazar Newton, I don't think number 7 is too high for him. I think he's a guy who could fall in the draft just because, how much do you value defensive tackle? But, Packers, if they decide to keep this pick, which is questionable, I certainly think Jazar Newton is a great pick. Vikings at 8. Kirk Cousins has been playing very, very good football. The problem is, I believe his contract's up. Do you re-sign him if you're the Vikings, an extremely aging quarterback, or do you draft a guy and save a boatload of money and try and compete? No, we know the window, right? The window is, Chiefs, Eagles, 49ers win when your quarterback is making next to no money. Now, a top 8 pick won't be making next to no money, but I think Bo Nix for the Vikings here, a lot of the problems some people associate with Bo Nix early in his career, I think he's fixed a lot of those at Oregon. So I think Bo Nix is a guy who's going to rise up draft boards. Some people are completely just sold on him as a prospect. Others completely hate him as a prospect. I'm somewhere in the middle, but a lot of teams need quarterback this year. That's something we will see. So I think there's going to be 5 quarterbacks drafted in the first round. So Bo Nix, I think, is the best option for the Vikings at pick number 8. Chargers at 9. This is pretty easy for me. Brock Bowers. He is the greatest tight end in college football history. It's not really debatable. And to get that guy at pick number 9 is absurd. It's ridiculous value. Brock Bowers is a top 3 talent in the entire draft, along with Marvin, Caleb Williams. To get him at number 9 is just absurd. Absurd value. Chargers fans would throw a goddamn parade if they got Brock Bowers at number 9. Titans at 10. This has to be receiver. Certainly. A guy like Olu Fashanu at 10, all the way down here available, is extremely tempting. And I understand that. But I don't know if you can pass on because DeAndre Hopkins, I don't think he's there next season. Treylon Burks, I'm not willing to call him a bust yet, but I don't think it's worked out. The question is, which receiver do you take? Because there's a lot of great options. The strength of this class are obviously quarterback and receiver. I'm giving him Malik Nabers. I know Keon Coleman is shooting up draft boards as of late, but I think Malik Nabers is just a very safe pick to be a number 1 receiver in the NFL. Saints at 11. This is Olu Fashanu. I don't care what their needs say. Their offensive line has been god-awful. Trevor Payne, to this point, is a bust. They need help on the offensive line, and you can't pass up on a guy like Olu Fashanu. Raiders number 12. It could be anything. Absolutely anything. But cornerback is a big need for them. That defense, it's been good, actually. It's not as bad as a lot of people think it's been. But name a cornerback on the Raiders. Challenge, besides Marcus Peters. And Marcus Peters is damn near at the edge of his NFL career. So Kool-Aid McKinstry at number 12 is the best corner in the draft. It's great value. Raiders fans should be very happy to get that at number 12. Colts at 13. Honestly, I think the offense is very, very solid. I think it's solidified. I don't understand why it has running back as a need, especially when you have, Jonathan Taylor. But I think Keon Coleman, out of Florida State. He is rising up draft boards because people look at the speed, they look at the size, they look at the threat he poses in the red zone and what he's been doing at Florida State so far this year. I think he's a guy that's going to go in the top 15 picks. And I think the Colts, Micah Pittman, he's not bad. Josh Downs playing well, but I don't think either of those guys are Keon Coleman. They don't have the size. I think Keon Coleman could be a true number one in the NFL. So I think the Colts are going to take that chance on him. Commanders at 14. This kind of just has to be O-line for me. The Commanders O-line has been so awful to start the season. So who's the best offensive lineman available? Talisi Fuga out of Oregon State. It makes the most sense for me. Tackle's a need. Take the best tackle on the board. Pretty simple. Rams at 15. This is interesting. This is very interesting. I think the trenches are where they really need help, but the Rams do not have. Name a member of the Rams secondary. I'm in the division. I can only name about one corner. So I think take your pick at a cornerback. I think Cooper DeJean is having an amazing season, absolutely amazing season at Iowa right now. And the system they run defensively, playing so much zone, it kind of prepares guys for the NFL. I think the Rams get their guy to put in that secondary and really just have, a young cornerback moving forward, just to say you got somebody back there. Cardinals second pick at 16. Where do you go here? Quarterback, not really an option. Receiver, you already took Marvin Harrison. Do you go interior offensive line? I think you go defensive line. Chop Robinson is a great value here, putting together a massive season at Penn State. Defensive head coach, I think he really wants to improve that D line. What's his name? Zaven Collins has been good so far this season, but getting a guy opposite to him, I think would help them a lot. Jets at 17, they only have one need. It's tackle. I agree. The offensive line has been a killer for them for so long. Graham Barton at Duke, I think the last guy who I really can say confidently will be a first-round pick as a tackle. Bengals at 18, I think, obviously offensive line is something you'd like to take here, but it's a lot of good options. It's a lot of good options at this spot. I'm going to go defense. I'm going to go defensive and Jared Verse. I think at pick 18, it's very good value. You can never go wrong with pass rush in the NFL. Getting a guy besides a Trey Hendrickson, I think could pay off for them long term. So I think Jared Verse at 18, it's great value. Bengals can't really go wrong there. Buccaneers at 19. Buccaneers Falcons, I'll say both of them like this. I think whoever loses the division, as far as whoever's not winning the division, is going to draft a quarterback. At this point in time, it's looking like the Falcons are going to win the division. Obviously, that could change, but I think if the Bucs lose, I do think they'd move on from Baker immediately. Who would they take? For me, it's between J.J. McCarthy. I don't think Quinn Ewers are going to declare for the draft. He could if he thinks he's going to be a first-round pick, but, he's going to miss some time right now with an injury. He hasn't put together a great season so far at Texas, so it's like I don't think he has enough games played in college to really put together enough for NFL scouts. So I don't really think Quinn Ewers is going to declare. So the best option available is JJ McCarthy. I'm going to go with that for the Buccaneers at 19. It's a little high for me. I am not sold on JJ McCarthy. I need to see what he does as a pocket passer in big games. I feel like he tries to escape the pocket too much. I don't feel like he's able to sit in there and make accurate throws downfield. I need to see a lot more from JJ McCarthy, but I think a lot of teams need quarterback in the NFL right now. So I think the Bucs would take that chance at 19. Falcons here, I think it has to be receiver. They do have a couple holes, primarily getting younger on the defensive line, but a guy like Rome Odunze at pick 20, beside Drake London, the size in that receiver core at that point, Drake London, Rome Odunze, Kyle Pitts, it's ridiculous. And I think the Falcons would make good use of him and hopefully becoming a more pass-heavy offense with that addition right there. Bills at 21, they have a lot of needs. A lot of good options here. Usually, I give them a receiver. I want to give them a receiver, but I think, Tre'Davious White recently suffered a season-ending injury. I'm not sure how well Kaiir Elam is doing, but it looks like they're going to need more cornerback help. Kalen King on the board is just great value there. I know he didn't have a good game in real life against Marvin Harrison Jr. just now, but I think the Bills there, cornerback is quickly becoming a massive need for them. So I think Kalen King at 21 is great value. Cowboys at 22. I had given them a running back here, but honestly, I don't think a running back is going to go first round this draft. It's a deep class. It's not top heavy. There's a lot of good running backs in this class you can get in the second or third round. First round, I'm not really sure about that. So we're going to give them a receiver here. And I think they need a true deep threat. So this may be a little crazy. I think Emeka, Xavier Worthy, those are great options. But Johnny Wilson out of Florida State, to be as tall as he is, he's 6'7". He moves like he's 6'2" or 6'3". It's ridiculous. He's an amazing deep threat, as you could probably guess. I just I think him and the Cowboys offense would give them a whole new level that they could go to. And I think receiver is quickly becoming a big need for them since Michael Gallup forgot how to catch and Brandon Cooks is old as dirt. It's just I think, I think wide receiver for the Cowboys I'm liking more and more. Steelers at 23. It's interesting. You can kind of just take your pick, best player available in your mind. Uh, I think I think receiver could be a need, but mainly I'm thinking interior offensive line. They got to be able to run the ball more effectively than they have been. And, if that's the case, J.C. Latham out of Alabama, I think will provide just more depth, if anything, but possibly being a starter inside first, possibly moving out later. It's just the Steelers, they got to get better inside first before they can really do anything. Offensive line is the engine to the whole offense. So that should get them moving in the right direction. Texans at 24. This is just a match made in heaven. Not saying wide receiver is a massive need for them because, guys like Nico Collins have been playing really well, but pairing CJ Stroud back up with his college teammate Emeka Ibuka, I think it's a match made in heaven. You can't go wrong there. And wide receiver is a bit of a need for them. So Emeka at 24, I love it. One of my favorite picks so far in the draft. My Seahawks at 25. Personally, I'd like a quarterback, but there's not a lot of options on the board right now. So what do we do here? It could be offensive line, but I have not been mad with the way offensive has been playing so far, and I don't love the options on the board right now. So we're going to go interior defensive line, or do we go Cam Kitchens? It's between the Miami players for me. Dallas Turner I would love that as well, but man, I think Cam Kitchens has the possibility of being like I won't call him a generational safety, but he's damn good. He is better than any safety in last year's draft class. All respect to Brian Branch. I think he's worth way more than pick number 25, but I would be ecstatic if we got him at 25. I know we got three safeties on the team right now that are all pretty good, but Cam Kitchens for the future, I would love that as a Seahawks fan. Lions at 26. It's kind of scary to think that they could get significantly better here in the draft, but I think cornerback certainly is their biggest need. Defensive line could be improved, but not as much as cornerback here. Take your pick. Who do you want, Nate Wiggins or Josh Newton? I feel like Josh Newton is the more physical corner. I feel like Dan Campbell would like that. So we're gonna go Josh Newton out of TCU. Jaguars at 27. I think Cam Kitchens would have been a very good pick here, but he's now not available. So we'll go Tyler Newton. Also, certainly a guy capable of going first round at the safety position. So just improving the secondary for Jacksonville. Whole defense gets better as a result. Ravens at 28, pretty simple for me. I don't think there's a spot for the running back. I think, they could find a running back in the third or fourth round who would do very, very good. I think there's a spot for cornerback, you know, with Nate Wiggins still on the board. He's the best available. Who is a cornerback on that team besides Marlon Humphrey? You probably guess Rock Ya-Sin, but is Rock Ya-Sin in the plans moving forward? I'm not so sure. I think Nate Wiggins out of Clemson's a good fit there, fills a position of need. Dolphins at 29. I'm not sure about um I'm not sure about tight end here after Brock Bowers, Jatavian Sanders maybe, but I don't think tight end is a massive need there. Offensive line certainly you could sell me on. If you can sell me on that, Mims out of Georgia, couldn't tell you much about him. I'll be honest. I have not done enough scouting for offensive line so far. So I'll get back to you on that. But if I think offensive line certainly is the Dolphins' biggest need, take the best available. Niners at 30, you know, I'll go corner. Ward has been playing good, but obviously didn't have his best game on Monday night or Sunday night, I think it was. Maybe it was, I'm not sure. Uh, Kamari Lassiter on the board here. Best corner available, it looks like. Filling a need right there. Chiefs at 31. Hilariously enough, I think this is a receiver pick for the Chiefs, but Dallas Turner on the board. I don't know how you pass up on that. I just don't know how you pass up on Dallas Turner. They could get a lot of good receivers in the second or third round. You can't get a Dallas Turner in the second or third round. Eagles here. I think receiver is a great option. A.D. Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, Leggett, take your pick of all those guys, right? But linebacker, we'll go with a little storyline here to end the video. They need linebacker. Barrett Carter probably is the better option, but Jeremiah Trotter Jr., son of Eagles legend Jeremiah Trotter, fills a position in need. How do you not make this pick if you're the Eagles? I think that's just too perfect of a pick at that spot, to be honest. Pulled the whole draft up. Get that final view. And there we go. First mock draft. Honestly, I feel like there were a couple spots I could have done a little better. I will wait a while before we do the second one. I don't want to do a goddamn mock draft every week. That'll dilute how good it feels to do these. But man, that would change the NFL a lot if that went down next summer or next spring, I guess. Yeah. That's gonna be it for this video, y'all. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
It's out the motherfucking pack. Right out the niggas don't know how to act.